call this meeting of the Town of Sheffield Selectboard to order on May 15th, 2023. First of all, I'd like to welcome Bob back again to the board. Congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to have the chance to serve with you again. Nadine, do you wish to make any comment?
I'm so glad you're still here.
Okay, all right. And I'd like to, I'm sure the board wants to send out a special well wishes to Kathy Loring, who we understand is recovering from recent surgery, and we wish her well. Our first order of business is board reorganization. So is there...
Is everything on our microphones?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Frank just asked that you speak up a little bit.
First order of business is board reorganization. Is there a motion for chair?
I'll make a motion for Bob Kilmer to be our chair.
I will second that. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With that, I turn the gavel over to Bob Kilmer. Thank you, Bob. Got to do vice, we've got to do secretary. Yeah.
Okay, so do we have to do clerk now?
Clerk. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have a nomination for clerk?
I would make a motion for Nadine Hover to be our clerk.
I'll second that.
I'm good with that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
Okay, so we'll start with approval of meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the May 2nd meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we're going to skip item 3, correct?
Yes, please. Yep.
So we'll have discussion, possible action regarding an ice skating rink at Town Park. So, anyone from the public?
You want one of us or all of us?
Well, you can all, at some point, if you each have something different to offer, that would be fine. Just introduce yourself,
Yes.
your name, your address.
Hello, my name is Shira Sawyer. I am the soon-to-be president of the National Honor Society at Mount Everett High School. I live in Monterey. So we're proposing to put a skating rink under the pavilion at the Sheffield Town Park. For community use, it would be open for a few weekends in February, January, whatever the winter looks like it will hold. It'll be mostly run by NHS members, a few here. We're looking for any input or any advice on how we could make this happen. It would be a great community event for anyone of all ages who knows how to skate, wants to learn how to skate. We would run it, and we have some funds, but we would need some building expertise or some fine details to be worked out. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. We did get some correspondence where they had tried this in the past and had some issues. But I don't think it's anything that can't be worked out. We did look into legal, and that was okay. It's nothing additional, correct?
We looked into insurance, and it would be covered under the town's insurance.
Great.
You know, Bob, I wonder if, looking at the issues that were raised as to how the pavilion has changed over a course of time, whether there would be any value to ask the fire department, because I'm assuming that's where the water would come from,
I'm assuming.
to kind of flood the pavilion floor on a day when it's not in use, and just see what happens to the water. Because if there's not a certain amount of water that stays now, I would think that water would not stay in time to freeze.
I would assume you would use some type of liner.
What's?
You know something.
Introduce myself.
I can say something. We were thinking of somehow blocking the drain. My dad works on an ice rink very similar to the one we're proposing in Monterey. We just block the drain and then it's just gravel, or not gravel, pavement underneath. And it works great. There's little wood barriers around the sides, which we were thinking we could create to keep like a handrail for the skaters. But it seems to work well with, as long as there's no drains, which we could block it off, then it could work with just the pavement.
It might be a little tricky with just pavement and boards if you have gaps.
Yeah.
There would be,
Usually there's a liner
yeah, there
or
would be a gasket
some
of some
plastic
kind.
that would be, the water would actually press the plastic back into seal the holes. But definitely you probably want to look into somebody that's done something similar, which I believe Monterey has, haven't they?
It works great. Yeah.
So they would be a good resource, but I would assume I'm pretty sure that the fire department would flood it for you.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
And there would have to be some additional boards put up because some have been removed for tripping hazard, which would have to be reinstalled to get the thing to a rink standard.
And you also, all of the public entrances have been leveled.
Right.
So there's no barrier. So those, otherwise it would go, unless it's like a flash freeze, it would go flying out one of those 4 entrances.
So I think there is a pitch to the entire floor, and it goes to a drain. There is a drain in the center. The question is, have you done this before in Sheffield?
He needs to go up to the podium.
Oh, sorry.
Take the floor.
No, you're talking, you just go to the podium.
Microphone.
So the question is, if this has been attempted before in Sheffield in recent memory. Yes, it has. Okay. So one of the things that these kids did is they went out and they applied for a Berkshire Taconic grant to make this something like this happen. In addition to other things that we're going to do next year, community-wise. So I guess what we're trying to figure out is, can we do it? Some of the legal logistics of, we can't always be there. Supervision is one of them, and then obviously the legal. And I think what the idea for NHS was, partially, yes, this would be a great community activity. I think kids would flock there. But also we could, possibly as a fundraiser, to sell hot chocolate and cookies on the weekends. But I can't imagine us being there. I can't imagine it lasting too much longer than the weekend. If it's not maintained, it will just eventually melt. And there's ways to get to the drain, heating elements that we can get to the drain and just literally just let it drain.
So how long do you plan on doing this? Was this a week thing, a month?
We're just exploring this as an opportunity, as an option. We don't know what winter's going to look like. That's going to definitely.
If it's 40 degrees, you're not going to get frozen water, so.
We were hoping you'd get us a Zamboni.
No problem.
Call Berkshire School.
I keep forgetting to go to your. I'm sorry. I'll do that. I think
George keeps listing his hand.
I think it was tried once before over there. And if they did it in the pavilion, they're going to have to put some sort of liner down.
Yep.
Because I'm sure that blacktop is not going to hold it. And I know there are 2 drains in it.
Right.
Okay? If they did it on the tennis court, put a pipe frame around it and put their liner there, it'd probably stay better.
The basketball court, the current unused basketball court?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if nobody plays basketball in the middle of winter out there, they might be able to do ice skating out there,
I think that
I think the reason for the pavilion is they don't want to have to shovel snow. And I don't blame them.
Snow if we get that kind
Yeah.
of winter. And then the other, I think, problem on, and I haven't seen that basketball or tennis court, but if too much ice accumulates on a tennis court, it will heave.
It's an old pavement. It was used as a basketball court. I don't think there's any real damage that can be done to it, to be honest. But I
It's in
think
pretty rough shape.
it's in pretty rough shape is what I mean, but I could see where it might be easier to put a ring of wood around that rather than the pavilion and then put the liner on that, because you don't have 4 entrances and, everything is pretty well flat. But it sounds to me like the board is maybe in favor of this, but we need to have more information. More work needs to be done.
We need to come up with a little more of a plan.
When you say we, do you mean we or
Well, I'm sorry.
or them? Because I want to make sure we know who's doing the we work.
I think the "we" here is you, if that's what that is.
So really, this was just an idea that was cooked up in one of our,
And we think it's a fabulous idea.
and that sounds great. And really, we're not here for, an approval, but just to move this, but we have some time before
Yeah.
winter.
Yes.
And
I think eventually you will need approval because it's town property, but I think we just need more information as to how the logistics are going to work and whether you can do it, whether you can figure it out. And then there's the issue of weather, but there's nothing we can do about that.
okay.
So we look forward to hearing more information and then time frame and what you think the logistics would be.
That sounds great. I didn't realize that this had happened before, that was even an option in that spot. So I think,
Rhonda?
So maybe I could share with them the issues that were shared with us that happened
That
the last
would be
time they
ideal.
tried to do it. I would email those over to you, and you all could take a look at them
Okay.
and see how you would solve those.
If it's a possibility, then we're definitely going to keep trying to make it happen. I think it could
It
be
is
fun.
definitely a possibility. I think it's a good idea.
You have 3 selectmen who are thinking this is a great idea. We just want to know how it's going to happen.
Thank you.
so
Yeah,
Great.
all set?
Thank you and good luck.
great job. Thank you.
Who else wants to start?
Okay. We have a paving bid that needs to be awarded for County Road.
So it looks like we have 2 bids here. Do you want to go with the lesser of them? Just checking. I'll make a motion that we approve Elsinore Blacktop Paving Incorporated for a bid price of $275,160 for paving of County Road.
I would second that as the low bid.
All those, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Could I ask, Rhonda, were you surprised by the bids? Did they come in where you thought they might?
They came in, the higher one was maybe 96 cents a ton higher than what our estimate was. I was hoping for much lower, even on the low end, but, it
Okay.
is what it is. So it was underestimate, the low bid.
Thank you.
And we like underestimate.
Yes, I was just curious because last year it was so insane. Asphalt was so high. I was just curious as to whether oil was high. I was just curious as to whether these were.
But I believe our paving prices last year were lower than what they're giving
Oh, really?
us this year.
Cost of
Thank
labor,
you.
maybe.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. I'm shuffling papers here like crazy. Okay, we have an action regarding appointment to the Housing Commission. I believe Ben Webb
I
we
would make
announced.
I would make a motion to appoint Ben Webb to the Housing Commission. And Rhonda, that would be effective immediately
Yes.
for a 3-year term?
I'll second.
Well, I'll take a look at the term. I want to make sure that we're staggered appropriately.
Fine. So the term that Rhonda determines to provide a staggered rotation.
And I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on. Discussion, possible action regarding policy for special warrant expenditures. Ron, would you like to?
So we had talked at a working meeting about creating a policy for all of the warrant articles that we normally fund with free cash. Many of them we just passed at the special town meeting. That any of those expenditures be submitted to the town administrator's office for payment so that we have a closer eye on what's being spent to make sure that it's an appropriate use to the warrant article that was written and how it was voted. And also at the end of the year to decide whether to keep those monies, funds rolled over or to close them out. So if we had, for instance, I'm just going to pull numbers, if we had $100,000 to purchase something and the cost came in at 80, then I would make the determination with the accountant to close out the 20, which would close back out to free cash and not sitting there for no purpose at all. So it would just be easier if all those expenditures were done through our office so that we can make sure that the proper procedures and everything are followed.
Sounds like it makes perfect sense.
And
Well, it
how many of
also-
those expenditures do we generally have?
We had quite a few this year.
This year was a bonus
Maybe
year.
8, but they roll over. That's why they're in an article, because they stay there until the purpose is exhausted. And so we probably have maybe 20 accounts that we monitor.
That have small amounts of leftover money.
Well, some of them aren't even small amounts, like building repairs. We asked, I think this year, for $150,000. So those projects will be ongoing until those funds are used up. And so it may be 3 years before they're used up. I don't think so, but it could be 3 years. And so if there is any left over from this year, it will get added into the 150 that we voted this year. And then we'll have that pot of money to move forward.
I think this is also good because if anything goes wrong, your office usually has to straighten it out
Correct.
with the accountant, and this will help ensure that it's very smooth all the way
Yes.
through. So I would make that motion to accept the policy as written.
And I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a action regarding a one-day alcohol permit.
I see a one-day alcohol permit request from Treja Buxton for May 20th for a barbecue cookout at the town park. Do we have everything we need on this?
Now we are waiting for insurance certificate.
Okay, so subject to insurance certificate, I'll make a motion that we approve.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Reminder of vacancies, FY 2024.
So at the last meeting, I read this long list of open positions. We are getting some applicants for it, but we're still accepting letters of interest. Every vacancy has been posted on the town website, so if anyone's interested, they can visit the website to see what is open, or they can give us a call, and Jill or I, one of us would be happy to talk with anyone about the requirements or terms or any other questions they may have.
Excellent.
Volunteers needed.
Always need volunteers. We're happy to approve.
Yep.
So we're up to board item member, or board member items, excuse me. My first day as chair and I'm already.
You're doing fine.
You're doing wonderfully.
You're doing fine.
So, Renee, do you have anything tonight?
I have two things. First of all, I'd just like to remind everyone that we're having a composting workshop. I've got my recycling coordinator hat on at the library on Saturday, May 20th at 11 a.m. We're going to not only be talking about composting, but we're going to have an expert in, I think it's called vermiculture, which is worms, the use of worms in composting. And also we're going to have a woman from North County who runs her own composting business from pickup through the finished product. We're also going to be selling geo-bins and this wonderful little food container for under the sink to store your food before you bring them to the transfer station or take them out to your own compost. It's free. We're going to build a compost pile. There'll be plenty of time for questions and answers, and that's at 11 o'clock at the library in the program room. The second thing I just wanted to announce so that people can start thinking about it is that it is highly likely that I will not run again next year. This will be going into my 12th year with a 3-year absence. I always want to reserve the right to change my mind, but it does take a certain level of commitment, and I think anybody on the board would talk to anyone who's interested as to what that level of commitment is. And I wanted to give people who would be considering this wonderful opportunity plenty of time to think about it and make their decision. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your service. Nadine?
I don't have anything, Bob.
Yeah,
Well, then I guess I could take a motion to...
No, you must go to public comments first.
Oh, I jumped the gun again. Any public comments? Boy, I was going to scoot right out.
You're not. Pat Levine, 261 East Main Street, last time I looked. I just want to thank the town very wholeheartedly for all the support that it provided and all the collaboration that evolved around the Smithsonian, the Smithsonian exhibit that we had in the library for the last 5 weeks or so, and to say also that we're very glad to have the library back. It was very sort of crazy while the exhibit was there. But thank you, those of you who participated, who supported, who collaborated in the programming, which was really, really outstanding, and a very worthwhile effort by everyone. And I'd name them, but I'd forget somebody. And so community areas, community entities, please understand you have our appreciation.
Thank you, Pat. I agree. It was very nice. Any other? Bonnie?
Yes, thank you, sir. I don't know whether to say condolences or congratulations to you, Bob. Hope you're not giving up the negotiations subcommittee. Bonnie Silvers, 15 Bow Wow Road. Just a really quick update on the district. Where graduation, Tanglewood, come and join us that Saturday morning, first Saturday morning in June. Our students are ready and excited to move ahead. We'll have awards night the night before, hopefully outdoors on campus. We are moving ahead because of the additional grants that we've received with the wall-to-wall early college high school. Students this year earned close to 300 credits in this first year, 280 credits. So it's really been a very pleasant experience, and the support we've had from everyone has been absolutely great, and we hope we do you proud. So that's it. And if anyone has any questions, there are always merger questions. We haven't voted yet. There are still concluding reports. Poor Nadine has got the finance committee of the Regional Planning Board, and that's where the major part of the work is still outstanding. The expectation is still that late spring or early summer we will be able to vote, and then the towns will be voting. It would have to be a special town meeting. But in addition, you will be receiving for May 23rd, the same way that we had a community conversation in the TAC pack regarding all of the issues related to the merger. This meeting, May 23rd, will again be in the TAC Pack. There will again be an option to Zoom in with a whole new setup that really works. And we will have the individuals who did the research in the area of education. They were funded through the Barr Foundation. And rather than just translating it through us to the community, we asked that we would have for our 5 towns, though anybody can come of the 8 towns, or anywhere, that we will have a meeting on the 23rd. People will be able to ask questions, and they will have about a 20 to 30-minute report on the educational findings.
What time, Bonnie, please?
7 o'clock. The request from the community is, let me go home, see my kids, make dinner, and then come. So it'll be 7 o'clock in the TAC Pack. And notices were just, I'm saying it without the flyer. The flyer was just getting a final review about an hour and a half ago. So you'll have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other public comment? So I guess now I can get a
Motion to
motion to adjourn.
Second.